I think we're ready.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Boyd County Board of Education regular board meeting. Pursuant to the meeting protocols for novel coronavirus COVID-19 as issued by the Governor's Executive Order 2020-215, declaring a state of emergency through Kentucky pursuant to his power under the Kentucky Constitution and KRS Chapter 39A regarding the threats to public health presented by COVID-19 pandemic of March 6, 2020, the Boyd County Board of Education adopted a resolution on March 24th, 2020, with regard to meetings held on and after the adoption of the resolution and subject to limited exceptions as described during the present state of emergency. It is not feasible under KRS 61.840 to precisely identify and provide a primary physical location for a video teleconference at which the public may attend and view. Boyd County Board of Education shall conduct its meetings in conformity with the procedures set forth in KRS 61.826 for video teleconferencing of meetings. Therefore, this meeting will be by video teleconferencing and may be viewed by the public live at the following link. You can go to our YouTube channel and click on the link, or you can go to the Boyd County website and click on the link there as well. We'll now have the roll call. Tammy Pruitt,
Here.
Mindy Stanley,
Here.
Randy Stapleton,
Here.
Judy Nichols.
Here.
All members present. We'll call this meeting to order, time being 6:01. We'll now have the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now have the reading of the board goals. All students will be active, self-motivated, lifelong learners. All students will graduate and demonstrate the skills and the knowledge to support productive citizenship. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Second.
Mindy? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Okay. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there will not be any presentations for students and staff this month. We have no request to address the board. We have, due to the COVID-19 pandemic and in lieu of person-to-person dialogue, the following will be presented in written reports. We have the Student Code of Conduct booklet. We also have the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and Professional Development 2019-2020. Do we have any questions or comments on these reports?
Mr. Boblett, the only thing I would like to say about the code of conduct, the district code, I'm assuming we still have a discipline committee at the high school.
Yes, ma'am. There is discipline committee. Yes, ma'am.
I would like for them, especially the high school and maybe the middle school, to make sure they coordinate their own code of conduct with the districts, because we often found that we had 2 different sets of conduct. So if you could just.
Yes, ma'am. I'll let them know that.
Thank you.
Typically, our district is a little more broad, and then the high school, middle school will drill down a little more specific when it comes to certain things. But yeah, you're right. Especially when you're looking at the more severe punishments, I see those are typically where we see some discrepancy. So I'll make sure that they look through that.
Yes.
And I apologize, I missed something. Tammy, Mindy, we need to someone needs to make a motion to accept the addendum to the agenda. Do you approve that?
Yes, so move. Second.
Second. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, I missed that. We'll move on to our reports and communications. Our June report for the Comprehensive District Improvement Plan, the CDIP, presented by Janice Markham, did she attach that? Let's see here. We just need to acknowledge that that's due, I guess, from Janice Markham. Right, Carol? Okay. Does anybody have any other questions on the reports and communications?
Madam Chair, if I may,
Please.
just a kind of a quick follow-up, just to let you all know some of the work that we're doing in the district with our district administrators, our principals, and soon to be our teachers and classified staff with our reopening team. We will be meeting Thursday morning at 10:30 to discuss some very general plans. There's actually a story that's probably going to be on WSAZ today at 6 o'clock. I was interviewed earlier today. It's kind of concerning that letter that I sent out, trying to give parents an idea of possibilities. We all know these things can change, and they can change drastically at any given time. But I want our staff to kind of have an idea of what the possibilities are. Later on, as we come back from the July 4th holiday, we'll also start to include parents. Each principal or director has sent me a name of a parent to add on to that committee a little bit later. So just wanted to let you all be aware of that. I think we have about 31 people on that committee. That's a lot, but we know vacations come up. Some people can't make it. I've already had a few emails, return emails from various staff members that are on vacation. That's fine. But as a district, and I want to be as transparent as possible to what we are thinking about and what we're looking at for opening school next year. I had a local superintendent today. He sent out an email, and I really like this idea. We've talked about this some over the last few weeks. Our region, our 16th region, of course, the regions are kind of set up according to sports, but we know kind of what the 16th region is. We are going to meet after the 4th of July to look at possibilities for our area. Maybe all of our districts could come together to come up with a very similar plan. The more minds that you put together, oftentimes the better your ideas may be, because we understand and we realize that if our district's doing something totally different than a neighboring district, there could be issues there. So we want to come up with a similar plan. And there may be small changes, but hopefully we can come together and come up with some great ideas for our parents and our teachers. Made some notes here. We also want to discuss calendar options. I talked to you all a little bit about the possibility of some changes in our calendar. We have a few drafts that we've been talking about. One with a possible start date for students of August 26th. One with a possible start date for, make sure I have the right one here, of August 23rd for students. If we start later, that pulls us into a new law that went into effect. I believe this is year 3 of that. And to my knowledge, no school district across the state has used this law. It's affectionately known as the boat dock bill, and it was brought about by a legislature or a representative out in the Western Kentucky, in the Kentucky Lake region, to allow students a little bit later summer so they can be employed, in part-time employment and working something, in the Kentucky Lake region. But if we would start the Monday closest to Labor Day, and I believe that I'm quoting that correctly, which this year would be August 24th, we can forgo the 170-day requirement and only be required to attend school 1,062 hours. So that would shave off a few days of our school year. But what I really like about that possibility is that it allows, depending on what calendar we look at, anywhere between 6 to 8 days that our staff can get back in the building before kids come. They could prepare for all the changes that we're going to do. Instead of kind of preparing on the fly like we had to do in the past, and preparing without, during the summer when they're not being paid. I believe staff, when they're working, they should be paid. This will allow that opportunity. So it's something that we're going to talk about. Of course, all this will be a board decision. I'll bring that back to you all and let you know what options there are. We've also done a survey for our parents. That closes on Friday the 19th. I think it's the 19th is Friday. My calendar, I have one here on my, let's see. Yes, the 19th. We'll have some information, some data back from that. Surveys are great, but oftentimes surveys are kind of dependent on what people are thinking at that moment in time, not 2 months later. So we want to take that into play whenever we're looking at that survey data. Some of the other things that we will be talking about is, and we'll probably move on once we get through this first meeting, how we're going to look at or bringing kids back to the building, if we're going to have to do an A/B schedule, if we can get all of our kids back in the building. But right now we know that we can't do that based upon current guidance. So those are all options that I'll throw out on the table for our certified and classified staff. It's a real comprehensive group. We also have KEA involved with that, or BEA involved with that. They're on the team, so I want to get them involved. As I've told our administrators and different people, there's not a lot of easy answers, just a lot of hard choices that we have to make, and that'll be tough. And you all probably have sensed my frustration on some of these things, and usually I get frustrated for about a half hour, an hour, then I move on. So, but it's we will get through this. We will do our best to educate our students to the best of our abilities, but we also have to come up with a lot of different plans. And during the month of July, I think it's a time that we will be discussing and kind of formulating plans, and then have more solid plans as we move through July. I think the key right now is to let parents know, which is what I did with that letter, that that there's a possibility that kids won't be in school 5 days a week. There's also a possibility that we could have intermittent closures, 1 or 2 3-day closures. Could be closures that could be 7 to 10 days, and there could be longer term closures. And of course, I would say the biggest concern besides educating their child is child care issues. And we know that's a huge issue in our area, in any area. What are you going to do with your child if you have to go to work at 7:30 in the morning? We have to close because of an outbreak either in our district or across the state. So we want parents to be thinking about that. And I think by sending out that information either through Facebook and the letter and so forth, that they can have an idea that that's possibilities, or those are possibilities. The governor says we're not going to be first, we're not going to be last, but we're going to make decisions based upon science. And I think that's a great idea. We're also going to make decisions based upon student and staff safety. So that's what we're looking at. Just wanted to give you all a little update on what's been taking place. I sit in on a commissioner's webcast every Tuesday, and it's usually about 2 hours. Today's was about 2 hours and 17 minutes. Not that I was counting, but and typically we receive new information and information that can help, and they're trying their best to at KDE, and they can only do what they know right now, and I get that it can be frustrating, but again, we'll do our best, and I think we'll have a pretty good plan. And I think that the help with the local school districts coming together and hopefully coming up with a very similar plan will make things really go as best as they could for our region. So I like that idea, and my hat's off to Sean Horn. He's putting that together for us. So he's a superintendent at Russell, and I appreciate that. That's all I have.
I think that's a really good idea, Mr. Boblick. As a teacher, we all know how many days we put in before school without pay all the time. So
absolutely
terrific idea so they can get off and running when they get that we kids are there.
Sure. We had planned our original calendar to have 2 PL days, before kids came in, and plus an opening day and so forth. So we had, the opportunity for a couple of days. Typically, it's just one day. If we have any other PD days, these are PL days. The difference being PL days is the requirements. They're part of their contract. And I like the idea. I always remember as a principal, getting teachers in and before school starts, will help that transition. Whenever, the kids are in the building, we're prepared. Instead of preparing once kids are already in the building, we're prepared before they come in the building. So with the pandemic that we're dealing with, we're going to need as much time as possible. I truly believe.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments on the reports and communications?
The CDIP, I thought, as usual, was terrific.
She does a
Yeah.
great job.
Janice does a great job with it.
Janice does a great job.
Okay, we'll move on to our action items. 10.1, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the change order number 002 as submitted by Sherman Carter Barnhart Architects for contractor Rising Sun Developing Incorporated regarding the Boyd County High School Phase 4 athletics in the increased amount of $2,081.67 to provide and install a new water valve and box. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Tammy, Mindy, discussion? We haven't seen too many of these this time. That's actually,
I think this is only number 2.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's
That's
great.
great.
All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.2, consider superintendent's recommendation to accept the request from Cheryl Caldwell, Transportation Director, to increase the district bus driver's contract from 4 hours per day to 5 hours per day to allow elementary and secondary students to be separated by running 2 morning bus routes. Starting in 2020-2021, change contract hours from 4 to 5 hours per day. This will also solve ongoing problems with getting students to middle and high school too early, overcrowding on the AM buses, and keeping elementary and secondary students separated. When school start times changed last year, it caused some problems. In order to get elementary students to school in time to eat breakfast, and most buses arrived at the high school and middle school before the doors opened. They were dropping kids off 45 and 50 minutes early. And we've cut so many routes over the last several years that the morning buses had become really crowded. They're too crowded to transport safely during the coronavirus situation, but that has just tipped the scales to help us decide to proceed with what really needed to be done anyway. I've always been concerned about what the elementary students are exposed to on these boarding buses while they're being transported to the high school and the middle school. Buses are not going to be big enough to really keep them separated. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy? Mindy? I think this sounds like a really good plan.
I do too. You know, we've been discussing this before coronavirus hit. Cheryl's
Yeah,
been working on routes, and you know, this, like she said, I think tipped the scales, to use her quote there. And right now, less kids on the bus, the better. And I think that when we, you know, I put this in a survey, but you know, we'll continue to communicate this out to our parents. I think that may help ease the minds of some parents when they put their children on the bus, especially elementary children on the bus in the mornings, that there won't be as many kids on there, and they will not, you know, elementary students will not be with middle school and high school students.
Sounds good. All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.3, consider renewal of the advanced ed membership fee for Cognia for each school for a total amount of $10,500 for the school year 2020-2021. Advanced Ed is a nonprofit, nonpartisan community of educational professionals that conducts on-site reviews, an accrediting agency, Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Councils on Accreditation and School Improvement, SACS and CASI. Advanced Ed is now Cognia. $1,200 for each location, with the exception of BC Early Childhood Academy, which is $900. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Mindy, discussion?
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to discuss this with you all a little bit. You know, when I became superintendent, I think my interim year, we renewed, or we had the review that came across, and it was a great review. Got some good feedback from Advanced Ed. Again, they changed their name. I think it's Cognia now. Honestly, I'm not for sure if the cost is worth what we received from them. I surveyed some local districts. Not all the districts responded back to me, but I do know Russell dropped it. Greenup dropped it, and Lewis County said they're not going to do it because of the cost. I did check with Carter and Lawrence, and did not hear back from them. That cost is $10,500 per year, and you know, in the grand scheme of thing of the budget, it's not huge, but that's a lot of money. And then every time we have the group come in to do a review, and Janice sent me that email, and I meant to print it off. I'm not sure what it was. I think I cannot be quoted on this, but I will tell you what I think she said, or think what the email said. It was $3,500 plus lodging and transportation. People come from all over the United States. So if someone flies in from California, we have to pay for that. And again, I'm not knocking the program, but I just want you all to be aware of the cost of the program. I originally thought the cost was $10,500. It covered us for the 4 years, but it's not. After I signed that second purchase order, I asked someone, I said, this is $10,500 each year. And yes, so it's expensive. It is nice to have, but I will tell you, several other districts don't do it in our area. And just what's your thoughts? I think Dr. Nichols, you were involved during our first time whenever we became, I think it was SACS back then, and the names have changed over a period of years. Just want to see what your thought may be. If you want to continue, that's fine. That's not a problem. We just want you all to be aware of the cost of the program, the cost of what it takes to do this.
So what does that do with our district accreditation and all of our schools if we're not involved in?
Accreditation for a public school is not necessary. It just means we are not SACS-CASI accredited, just like Russell's not. It's like, you know, it's a feather in the cap, so to speak. And it's nice to say that. We have some nice plaques for it. We have some nice a flag, I believe, in our district office, and we can put it on our, you know, letterhead. I don't think I've used it on our new thing that I had developed, our new letterhead. We lose those rights, so to speak. But
we were the first district in the area to be the SACS accredited district wise, you know, and I'm not sure if any of them went on and got the district accreditation, but personally, it was a big deal then, but for the money, no.
Yes. 10.5 is a lot. I mean, it's a lot. You figure over a period of 4 years, you know, when we start adding up 4 or 5 years, you know, if it's I believe it's a 4-year cycle. So that's $42,000. And then we have to pay for them to come in. We have to pay a certain amount there. And again, I think it's $3,500 plus travel expenses. So you're probably looking at about another $5,000 to $7,000.
And we entertain them royally.
Thank you. Yes, that was shared with me too. We do. We have to entertain them well. And again, I'm not knocking the program. You know, there's a lot of programs out there that are a lot of things that it's worthwhile. But
I just think with all their name changes and everything, it's just become less and less, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that money could be used elsewhere, be more beneficial for the students.
I guess you might want to ask the schools, maybe table it and see if it's a big deal to them to have that accreditation. And like I said, I know back when we first got it, it was.
Yes.
But
tell you what, if you want, we can put this on for next month. I believe the bill is due, but we can probably hold it off for a little while. We'll blame it on the coronavirus. And I can talk to our principals and our preschool director, make sure there's nothing that I'm missing here on this, especially with preschool, because it's a federal fund, you know, different funding and so forth. Make sure I'm not missing something, and then we can move forward with it on next month's agenda.
That sounds perfect.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor of tabling that till next?
Yep.
5 members voting yes. 10.4, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve first reading of the Kentucky School Boards Association, KSBA 2020 Policy Update Number 43. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy? Do I have a second?
Second.
Randy?
Andy.
And any discussion?
So all these are online now, Mr. Boblett?
Yes, ma'am. They've just updated everything. Um, maybe 10 days ago, maybe a week ago. It wasn't very long. I don't know if they've transitioned them to the online or to being online yet, but they will be in the next few days.
Do you meet with the principals for the major updates in policy?
What we do, Matt will share those with us or with our principals at our admin team meetings.
Okay.
And Matt will share, he'll present any changes and additions next month.
Mhm.
Okay, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.5, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve revised certified job description, principal, Boyd County Central, as presented. Revised and contract days changed to 195 days. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Tina? Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.6, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve revised administrative salary supplement schedule to add alternative ed principal supervision increment as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.7, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the revised extra service salary increment schedule to add a second middle school assistant football coach position. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Second, Mindy. Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.8, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the Remind Base Plan, a district-wide two-way communication tool for text and voice messaging between students and/or parents in the amount of $9,300. The quote is for the Remind Base Plan of $9,300 and administrator and teacher trainings of $1,000. The district would pay the $9,300 for the plan, and KETS funding would pay the administrators and salaries training of $1,000. This communication tool allows texting and voice messaging between teachers, students, and parents without revealing personal information and allows students and parents to reply. This tool is to protect teachers' privacy. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second. Mindy, discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.9, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the Ad Tech agreement and letter of agency to provide E-rate consulting services to Boyd County Public Schools for the funding year July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Mindy, discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.10, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve memorandum of understanding between Ramey ESTEP Regroup and Boyd County Schools for the purpose of providing needed school-based behavioral health services as needed requested to students beginning July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Mindy, discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes.
Mr. Boblett, is there a lot of Medicaid reimbursement at the Ramey school?
At our high school,
The Ramey ESTEP High School, yeah.
honestly, I'm not real for sure. I know with counseling services, there's definitely some billable hours there. I'm not for sure about any of the other services, if we actually receive them or Ramey ESTEP Homes receives them.
Okay. 10.11 considers, I'm sorry, did I vote on that? Did we vote on that? We did.
You're good.
10.11, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the memorandum of understanding between Boyne County School Districts and Pathways Incorporated for the purpose of providing needed school-based behavioral health services to students for the period of 1 year, July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy and Mindy, and any discussion on that? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.12, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the Boyd County Public Schools, Ramey Eastep High School, and Ramey Eastep Homes Incorporated agreement to commence July 1, 2020 and terminate June 30th, 2021 to provide services of instructional assistance on a full-time basis for a total of not more than 210 contract days for Ramey Eastep High School. This agreement is for Ramey Eastep Home to provide services of the assistance for a total of but not more than 210 contract days for REHS. Ramey Eastep Home shall perform criminal background checks for the assistance as required by law. Boyd County shall pay Ramey Eastep Homes $4,013 per month for 9 months, August through April, for services of REHS assistance and shall not exceed the monthly set amount of $36,120. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.13, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve the Boyd County Public Schools, Boyd County Central Alternative School, and Ramey Eastep Homes Incorporated agreement to commence July 1, 2020 and terminate June 30th, 2021 to provide services of instructional assistance on a full-time basis for a total of not more than 173 contract days at Boyd County Central Alternative School. Ramey Eastep Home will provide services of the assistance for a total of not more than 173 contract days. Ramey Eastep Home will perform criminal background checks on the assistants. Boyd County will pay Ramey Eastep Homes $5,978 per month for 9 months, August through April, for these services. The total compensation shall not exceed the total of $5,978 per month or $53,802. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes.
Mr. Boblet,
Ma'am,
the alternative school, are kids rotating back to the high school, or are they getting help and working their way back to the high school?
if they meet the program objectives, they can come back to the high school.
I just wonder what the statistics are, what percent of them are able to come back.
Sure. At this time, I wouldn't know that. If I can ask Dara Sue to put us together a report on that, if you'd like.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. And the other thing, back when we were talking about the update for policies,
Mhm.
I forgot the number now, but would you have Mr. Spade to go over with us policies that have changed due to legislation?
In the last year?
The latest update.
Okay. Have
I
Matt.
think that's really important that we're made aware. I mean, I know we can read it ourselves, but
Sure.
and I do read it myself, but I think that that's important for us to know. Anything that has been legislative required for changes in our policy,
Sure.
we need to be made aware.
So if I ask him, make sure I'm correct in what you're asking, have him to go over with the board any policies that have been changed through legislative action within the last year?
Yes, that
Okay.
update, that last update
Okay.
that we got.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 10.14, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve memorandum of agreement between Morehead State University and Boyd County Board of Education for the dual credit program for students of Boyd County High School for the 2020-2021 academic year. These will include Biology 105 year-long, English 100 for the fall, English 200 spring, Math 152 year-long, Spanish 101 for the fall, and Spanish 102 for the spring. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Mindy, discussion?
Mr. Moblett, are we still working with ACTC for dual credit too?
Yes, ma'am. We work with them too. At one time, we were looking at partnering with another university, but that did not work out. But yes, ma'am, we do work with ACTC. I believe we approved those. I think we've already approved those. I can't remember when it was, though.
We're not working with Marshall.
No, not at this time. No, ma'am. We do work with Marshall with an online program where our students can do, I believe they call it early college, and it's kind of on their own, and they receive a tremendously reduced rate. It's somewhere just maybe $100, $200 for a credit class, for a 3-hour credit class. It's very inexpensive, but it is an on their own type program.
Okay, all those in favor?
One more question, but I vote yes. Is it our teachers teaching the dual credit classes? Are the Moorhead instructors coming, the ACTC instructors coming?
Our teachers are doing it right now, ma'am.
100%.
To my knowledge, yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the vote on that was all members voting yes. 10.15, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve lease agreement with American Capital for 300 Lenovo 100E Chromebooks for a term of 3 years in the amount of $79,763.43. $75,950 is base equipment, and $3,813.43 is interest type payments, for the total of the $79,763.43. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy? Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.16, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve bonds of depository with People's Bank of Marietta, Ohio, and Kentucky Farmers Bank of Catlettsburg, Kentucky, for the period beginning July 1, 2020, and running through June 30th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Tammy and Mindy, discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.17, consider superintendent's recommendation to record the 6/30/2019 fund balances in accordance with GASB 54 per attached memorandum. Funds 1 and 21 will record committed balances for SBDM carry forward totals and district activity fund carry forward totals. Funds 2, 310, 320, 360, 400, 51, and 52 will properly reflect the balance of restricted grant funds, amounts escrowed for SFCC and current construction projects, debt services, and proprietary funds. Funds 1, 2, 310, 320, 360, 51, and 52 will record assigned balances for encumbrances. The district finance director will determine the amount of assigned balances. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy,
Second.
second. Mindy, discussion. That was a lot of reading.
Number.
All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.18, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve contract with the Ashland Boyd County Health Department to provide and administer the HEP Hep A series shots as needed to approximately 50, my page cut off, students maybe?
Employees.
Employees. Sorry, my page cut off. This is the Hep A vaccine, $66 per dose. Complete series is $132. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.19, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve contract with the Ashland Boyd County Health Department to provide and administer the Hep B series shots to approximately 100 new employees as needed effective July 1, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021. The Hep B vaccine is $76. Dose series is $228. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy,
Second.
second. Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.20, consider superintendent's recommendation to approve extra service allotment of $25 per hour for the certified classified employees serving on fiscal year 2020-2021 school reopening committee. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? Mindy, did you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sorry, 5 members voted yes. 10.21, consider Lonnie Thacker, Food Services Director's request to increase the job class pay scales years of service for cook baker, food service manager, and substitute cooks by 50 cents per hour at an additional cost of $47,982.89 being funded by the food services. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.22, consider Lonnie Thacker, Food Service Director's request to add 2 new positions in food service, 4-hour cook at the Boyd County Learning Academy and full-time 7-hour cook at Boyd County High School with funding from food services. The BCECA prepare food for all students in Head Start and the students in the GT program for breakfast and lunch. Also prepares snacks for Head Start. BCHS will help man the alternate point of scale station, day-to-day food prep, and at-risk after-school supper program. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Any discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. 10.23, consider approving the Student Code of Conduct booklet as presented for the 2020-2021 school year. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? Discussion? All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Move on to our consent items. Need to acknowledge that this is a new procedure update from KSBA, and the board needs to have reviewed and acknowledged the update at this meeting. There's no action taken or no voting on the individual item, but we need to acknowledge this. Do I have any questions or comments on the consent items? Do I have a motion to approve them as presented?
So move.
Tammy?
Second.
Mindy? No discussion? Stop
I think your dog might have some discussion.
it. All those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Do we have we need to acknowledge our personnel items for June of 2020. Is there any discussion or comment on that? Okay, moving on. 13, the focus for our next meeting for July 28, 2020 will be dialogue topics with superintendent. He will have his final summative evaluation in closed session. We moved this from our June meeting till July. Data security and breach notification with Matt Spade and Cindy Pontier. Board policy manual updates review, Matt Spade summative. Evaluation of superintendent open meeting report, Linda Day, board chair. We will be moving this to August. We'll also have that update on that Cognia membership.
Yes, ma'am.
Does
Please add that.
anything else anything we need to add or?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
You may want to go ahead, if you don't mind, add another update on the reopening of school, and I'll give another update, and we may have a little more time on our hand then. We may need to have at least some sort of discussion as far as the calendar update. We may need to do that a little earlier than that. We may have to call a special meeting. I think the earlier that we can give parents an idea of at least when school will start, the best.
Absolutely.
Or if you all want, we can at least get that information out there. So something we need to be thinking about because we do meet late in July, July 28th, the end of July, basically. So
Right.
you may want to talk about that and possibly have a special meeting before that to approve a calendar.
Sounds good. Anything else? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Tammy,
Second.
Mindy, all those in favor? 5 members voting yes. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Have a great
Bye.
evening.
You too. Thank you.
Take care.